Uh, Friends, now we will move ahead. Actually, we have Mr. Mukund Chitale, a well-known independent director in the corporate circles. Before I invite Sir to deliver his address, to give a director perspective of the expectation from the role secretarial department, a small introduction about Sir. Uh, Mr. Mukund Chitale is the managing partner of Mukund and Chitale and Company. Sir has more than 40 years of experience on advising companies on their business, financial and strategic matters. Sir's word has a lot of saying in the corporate India, especially in accounting and auditing matters. Sir is currently the chairman of the principal PNB Asset Management Company Private Limited, and he's also independent director on many companies, including Lawson Chubro Infotech, YNJC Petro Additions Limited, Lodha Developers Limited, and much more companies. Sir has held many very important positions in the past. Sir was the chairman of the National Advisory Committee on Accounting Standards. He was the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and he was also the member of Company Law Advisory Committee of Government of India. Sir has also headed a very, very important advisory body to SEBI, the Primary Market Advisory Committee. Sir, now I would welcome again to this wonderful seminar. I request you to kindly share your insights with the participants. Sir, it is over to you.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I think on a working day at 11 o'clock to invite people to listen to something like this is really remarkable, and I must congratulate NISM for doing this. Sometimes when one has to speak, if you are given 45 minutes, it's very easy. But if you are given 15-20 minutes, it's more difficult. So let me come straight to the topic which is assigned to me. I think Mr. Amarjit has very nicely explained the expectations by SEBI from the various functional. My job is to say what is the director's perspectives. Actually, the organizers had asked me to say whether I have a presentation. Now, as a part of the organizing program, as a part of the risk management, it is appropriate to ask for presentation so that you know what speaker is going to speak. But unfortunately, I could not do that. So I think I'll take you through some of the basics of these perspectives. Now, how do I look at the subject? I thought of asking few basic questions and then I deal with them. Whenever we are dealing with a subject, I think few basic questions is why, what, where, when, who will do it, how will do it. Let me look at the director's perspectives from that angle. When we talk of secretarial department, I think the whole board looks at secretarial department as a support function, and which was explained to us by Amarjit right now. But while doing this, are we looking at pure compliance or are we looking at something more than that? I think that's the first question that generally arises. And more or less the experience is that this is taken more as legal compliance, and even within the law, it's more the company law and not necessarily the other laws. Let's look at the compliance certificate which follows to every board meeting every time. When I make a comment, I'm not saying about A company or B company, but generally these are like certificates which come from bottom to the top. But do we really question those certificates at some point of time? I think that's the first question. Why is what secretarial department should ask every person below working, when especially in large companies, when every quarterly we are giving a compliance certificate saying that everything is complied with. Are we really doing that? And now that's what the board would expect the secretarial department to do that. The points to be noted is, over a period of time, the regulators have become more stringent. The approach has become more specific, and I think that is where the secretarial department is expected to be good connect between what the company management is doing and they know about, and how do they connect it to the board at large. Now, while doing this, I think the first topic which comes to my mind is there's a lot of expectation gap between what the directors expect and what really follows from the secretarial department. And what could be the possible reason for that? I think as far as the secretarial department is concerned, they would know lots of details, but sometimes people look at the management to say whether this should be passed on or this should not be passed on. Now, I think that is where things become difficult for the secretary department to take a subjective call on the matter and deal with the subject. And that is where Mr. Amardeep's point about culture of the board and culture of the company would play a greater part. Now, when we talk of culture, is it really something which is measurable? The answer is possibly no, but it is something like electricity. I think you can feel it, you can know the presence of it, but you can also know the absence of it. And I think that is how one will have to really look at the culture of the board and the culture of all the departments within the company. And that is where secretary department, I think, plays a very important role in terms of communicating what exactly is necessary to the board to understand. The next point is, in Companies Act especially, there are provisions which very specifically say what is to be done. There are provisions which very specifically say what is not to be done. And attempt many times is to see and try and do something which is not prohibited to be done. And this is a conflict which exists in company law. This is a conflict which exists in accounting standards, auditing standards, and everywhere. People try and find out to do something which is not expressly prohibited, but normally these are areas which generally lead to more difficulties in the long term. So I think that is something which we need to avoid. And secretary department can rightly point out areas of such distinction where people are trying to do something which is not specifically covered, but which is not desirable. One more aspect which comes to mind is when secretary department assists the board and the minutes are written. Now there are different styles in which minutes are written. Some companies write the minutes which everything is incorporated, including the names of the people who have said something. And there are some companies which capture only the essence of the matter without necessarily giving the names of the companies. I think it will be very useful for either Institute of Company Secretaries or somebody to say, ideally, what kind of minutes should be written? Of course, broadly, everybody knows that minutes should capture the essence of the discussion. But when these minutes are seen by regulators, and especially if you're working in a bank or an insurance, especially a bank or NBFC, when the regulators look at it, sometimes they ask questions as to how many participants have actually spoken about it, who had said what, etc. So I think there is a need to set down manner in which the standards, the minutes should be written. The next point which comes to mind is that all these are expectations, but while doing this, what are the difficulties which secretary department faces? And I think the first difficulty is that the expectations are too many, but the support will be to some extent wanting. And I think that's where let me catch up on what initially was stated by Narasimhan about secretary department being spinal cord of the whole organization. I think that's a very nice identification. And if you know that a spine is required in everything that we do, I think the message that he has given is very, very clear. Now, if the spine has to be very straightforward, then what is it that the board expects? I think the board expects the secretary department to tell exactly what is happening inside with the management and to communicate it precisely to the board so that we know what are the facts to be considered and what are the facts on which a decision is expected. Actually, a company secretary while working in any company has the best advantage of listening to so many people who sit on the board, and one can grasp maximum information, knowledge, and also wisdom coming from these people. The point is, with this, does the secretary department keep on upgrading itself to a higher level? I think that is something which is desirable, because we can't be just saying that secretary department will keep a record of the minutes, etc. They must upgrade the whole level at which the discussions take place in the board, and I think that is where secretary department can support the effective communication between all types of board members. There are some who are full-time, there are some who are part-time, there are some who are nominated, etc., etc. Now, does this require something more to be done by the secretary department? And I would say, yes, they need to create a structure of knowledge management and creation of an institutional memory within the secretary department. The use of technology is something which is very, very essential. Of course, the COVID has taught us how to do that. And certainly people have been using that, but I think more and more about that will be useful. Similarly, when one talks about the law, the people in the board expect, of course, the secretary department to say the law, but I would take something more beyond what is normally stated. See, most of us, when we read a Companies Act or some other act, we say, look, this is the provision, and then there are discussions within the board about why, etc., etc. So if secretary department is able to bring out the logic of the law which prevails over there, I think it is very useful to the board to take a conscious and decided, calculated call on the decision that it is taking. So the knowledge of the law should be such that we not only point out the problems, but we are also able to give a solution as much as possible. Because I think people nowadays expect a solution from a expert person and not only the problems from the expert person. So habitually, I think many of us who are dealing with, say, law or accounting or auditing tend to keep on saying this is something which cannot be done. And I think typically the managements and the boards would like to know how to do it. And therefore, that is where the extremely good knowledge about the law tells us how to do something, how to do it properly. And if it is something which cannot be done, we can very clearly say, look, this is not possible. Now, this is where the skills of an individual in a collective manner come out. And I think that is where the secretarial people will have to learn to state very politely but firmly what they believe in something. Now, clarity does not mean arrogance. And I think, therefore, there has to be a skill which comes out with clarity without arrogance. And a principle-oriented approach, but still being practical. Now, all this leads to various high-level expectations from secretarial department, because I think you are put into that position by the whole corporate governance structure itself. Which means that the quality of your work has to be always, going up and up. Now, how do we really measure the quality? And I think the only way to measure is to compare the performance with the expectations. And if the performance is more than expectations, I think you have done it. When I'm saying this, I don't mean to say that the people working as secretaries or secretary department are not doing it. But I think the seminar like this is normally meant to air the expectations, to state what is good and to see how to achieve this. And I think that's the whole objective. And that's where I remember a very small anecdote, which is not a true story. When I was going on a road, I saw a building being constructed, and on the face of the building was a prominent hoarding which stated, and this was the hoarding put up by a builder, the quality of your expectations will decide the quality of our product. I think when you go back, please look at the meaning of this hoarding. In many walks of life, I think we are coming to that position where the better the quality expected, the better we make the performance. And I think the objective of a seminar like this is to improve our performance over a period of time. And lastly, I would say, as a secretarial department or a function, we need to look at our own risk management. Risk management is a subject which is normally given to companies, boards. The board will have their functions, etc. But let's look at the risk management. There are operational risks. There are more risks that we worried about is the complacency risk and the reputation risk. And I think the secretarial department has to more worried about reputation risk, which is on one spectrum, and the complacency risk on the other spectrum. I would believe that I have just thrown out a few thoughts for your consideration. When you go back and sit in your own functioning department, please think over this. Whatever you consider to be appropriate, please take it up. Thank NISM for giving me this opportunity of sharing few thoughts on the perspectives of directors on role and responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights and also sharing your experience with the participants. You rightfully pointed out certain important points. The compliance department is a good connect between the executive and the board, and also raising some questions on how to write minutes, how minutes have to be written, and how the secretarial department has to upgrade itself both in terms of structural and also has to have an institutional memory and also to go with technology. And finally, you said rightly said the secretarial department should be able to find out the logic behind the law, that is the intention behind the law than the law itself, and also the trade-off between a reputation risk versus compliance risk. Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful. It has been a wonderful pleasure to have you with this and sharing your perspectives. Participants, now we will move on. Now we will have Mr. A veteran who is very well known in the compliance circle and who has been who has been with Mr. K. Parvatisam, company secretary, and also just a second. And company secretary and chief legal officer, corporate and compliance, Tata Steel. Before I invite Mr. Parvatisam to share his valuable insights, I will just make a small introduction about him. Mr. Parvatisam is currently the corporate secretary and chief legal officer, corporate and compliance at Tata Steel. Prior to joining this, he was the company secretary and chief risk and compliance officer at Infosys. He is serving as a member on the CII Corporate Reporting Consortium and also on the CII National Committee on Regulatory Affairs. His qualifications are numerous. They are infinite. You can see he holds a Master's of Laws in Corporate Governance and Practice, degree from Stanford Law School, Master of Business Administration, degree from the Solent School of Management and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Bachelor of Commerce from Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. He has done Bachelor of Law degree from Bangalore University, Masters in Business Law degree from National Law School of India University, and associate member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. And he's also planning to do right now his PhD. A very, very knowledgeable person. And he's commonly known as PK in the corporate circle. Sir, now I would invite you to kindly share your perspective of the expectations from the role of Secretarial Department and their contribution to board effectiveness. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you also for the invitation to share my thoughts, particularly in a forum where we've got such people on the panel. It's a humbling experience for me, and I really am very grateful for this opportunity. So there are two important aspects that's been put on the table. One is the board effectiveness, and of course the role of the secretarial department, which essentially means the role of the company secretary in ensuring that the effectiveness of the board is either preserved or enhanced. I carefully heard what Mr. Narasimhan articulated, what Mr. Amarjit Singh articulated, and of course,
Krishnamurthy from NISM.
Listen to the articulation of Mr. Narasimhan, Mr. Amarjit Singh, and Mr. Chatle, and I think they've given a lot of food for thought for the company secretaries and the profession as a whole. Company secretaries, the role of the company secretary and the secretarial department has significantly changed over the last decade or so. This was a position which was predominantly taken to be an administrative position, but today this position has become an extremely strategic position, which is in fact, as Mr. Narasimhan put, it's the backbone for a good corporate governance and a good board governance and board effectiveness. Corporate secretaries, to my mind, are the conscience keepers of the board processes and the culture of the corporation. And that's where the previous speaker touched upon the loyalty that the corporate secretaries need to have. And to my mind, our loyalty is to the institution. We have to be independent, our integrity has to be very high, and we need to implement good principles during challenging times. It's always very easy to implement good principles during good times. You will not have a crisis daily in a corporation, whether it's a large corporate or a medium corporate or a small company. You will not find crisis or challenging times for the company secretary on a daily basis or even in general. But there will be occasions where your independence, where your integrity, where your stature will be tested. where your character will be tested. And that's when the company secretaries need to stand up, advise the board, advise the management, advise other stakeholders independently without having an agenda. We are advisors to the board and we need to do our job. We cannot have an agenda. There cannot be an asymmetry of information between the board members. We must ensure that we brief the chair, we brief the independent directors, we brief other directors as appropriate. We also brief the management on the expectations of the board as appropriate, and not to play any games between different stakeholders. So that's where the integrity and independence of the company secretary becomes paramount, and this actually gets tested during challenging times. And that's when we need to stand up. Otherwise, if you are not able to stand up during challenging times, then it dilutes our presence, it dilutes the position, and of course, it dilutes the expectations that people have from us. Having said that, how do we ensure or how do we support the board in its effectiveness? At the end of the day, the board is there as a governance mechanism to make sure that it oversees the performance of the management and reports back to the investors who have actually put in the capital but don't control the capital. Now, the board has a fiduciary duty to its investors. And two of the most important fiduciary duties are duty of care and duty of loyalty. And to me, if a board has to discharge its fiduciary duty of care and fiduciary duty of loyalty, the company secretary and the secretarial department has to play a very pivotal role in ensuring that the board discharges its fiduciary duties to its investors. Let me take, for example, the fiduciary duty of care. How do you discharge the fiduciary duty of the care? Obviously, mostly through your board meetings. It's the company secretary who plays a very significant role, either in convening a board meeting or a committee meeting, either in conducting a board meeting or a committee meeting, or in concluding the meetings and making sure the adequate records are maintained. That's where the company secretary becomes extremely important, and the way he or she operates will determine whether the board is able to discharge its duties to its investors. Obviously, we cannot be haphazard in the way we convene the meeting. It may be very logistical, but there lies the point. Many times, small matters become very big. We have to make sure that the board calendar is rolled out a year in advance or 2 years in advance. We have to make sure as company secretaries that there is a board activity guidance. The board knows what typically is discussed in the quarter commencing October, in the quarter commencing January, in the quarter commencing April, in the quarter commencing July. So please let us give the board some kind of visibility as to what is the activity that's going to happen apart from the routine items that will always be on the agenda. Apart from those, what strategic matters will come up in some of these meetings so that the board is able to digest the information. The board is able to at least have visibility saying that, okay, in October board meeting, I might discuss HR strategy. I might discuss succession planning. So I mentally kind of be prepared to have that discussion and add value. So it becomes extremely important for secretaries to make sure that they give some guidance to the board early in advance. Likewise, to share the background material for meetings. Of course, the law says that you need to share it 7 days in advance. Yes, it is important to share the background material well in advance so that the board is able to study the material and come to the board meeting for a discussion rather than looking at the presentation slides. The board meeting is not a place where the board should be looking at the slides and the CEO or the CFO or anybody else should be turning the slides. Board meeting is a platform because you got only 2-3 hours or 4 hours of time in a span of quarter or 2 months, once in 2 months. So in that 4 hours, it's rather used effectively for discussions rather than going through slides in the meeting. So which means as company secretaries, we have to make sure that all the background material reaches the board well in advance. It's not just reaching the material. I might send 100 slides presentation. It has no meaning. The background material that goes to the board has to be meaningful, has to be strategic. The material that is given to the board should reflect the strategic thinking that is required of the board deliberations. And that's where we can play an effective role in guiding the management or whoever is preparing the background material as to how the background material should be prepared, what should be given to the board, what is it we expect from the board. After the discussion, what is the board supposed to do with the material? Is it supposed to give a decision? Is it supposed to only note? Is it only for information? Is it for familiarization? Why are we giving this material to the board? And I think those are things where we can play a very critical role. Those look very logistical things, but in my mind, they go a long way in having the meeting being conducted seamlessly and very effectively. So that's the pre-meeting. During the meeting, obviously, only one other person who has the seat on the table is the company secretary. The rest of them are all board members. So you have a duty to your chairman, you have a duty to your other board members. Brief the chairman as to how the time available can be effectively utilized, what matters can be taken up in which order, so that we don't end up wasting precious time in going through routine or operational matters. Highlight to the chairman if there are any conflicts in any of the discussions, so that at the beginning of the discussion, the chairman knows that on this particular item of agenda, there might be a conflict, and then mentally is prepared as to how he or she needs to navigate the discussions in the boardroom. Equally, highlight the conflicts to other directors, because many of them do give you disclosures, but they might forget because the disclosures come well in advance when the year starts. It's just that out of sheer oversight, they may start participating in a particular matter there where they're conflicted. So please do highlight so that they are not embarrassed, and then the meeting is conducted smoothly. So that's what we do to increase the effectiveness of the meeting sitting inside the boardroom. Now, after the meeting, there's more critical things that company secretaries need to be mindful of. One is to clearly communicate back the board deliberations to the concerned stakeholders, whether it's management, whether it's somebody else, as to what happened in the boardroom and what's the action item. What does the board want between this meeting and the next meeting, or between today and the next 1 week? So that's one of the most important things, because many things fall into cracks because the communication is not very robust between the company secretary and many of the departments. So we have a major role to play to make sure that the board decisions are communicated effectively and are implemented effectively. Like Mr. Chetale was telling, minutes. Minutes is one of the most important documents, because minutes is one document which will show to the external world, should there be a question on the directors fulfilling their fiduciary duty of care and loyalty. Minutes is the document which is going to evidence, did the board in fact discharge its duty or did not discharge its duty? So how do we prepare minutes? Obviously, there are principles based on which you need to prepare minutes. The minutes clearly need to show that the meeting was convened properly. The minutes clearly need to show who attended and in what capacity. The minutes should clearly show when the meeting started and when the meeting concluded. The meeting should clearly show that the board had got the agenda well in advance. The minutes should clearly show that the board did get the background material well in advance, so that the board is able to prepare and come to apply its mind. The minutes should clearly show that the deliberations did take place, and the deliberations took place in a very conducive environment, and while deliberating there were no conflicts. The minutes should show that the board had all powers and access to both internal and external stakeholders, so that they are well informed and well advised. The minutes should show that the board discussions were in the best interest of the corporation. And finally, the minutes should show that the decisions are taken by the board based on a healthy discussion so that tomorrow, if it is challenged, the board is confident in defending itself to say that I, as a board, have discharged my fiduciary duty of care and loyalty, and hence I need to get the protection of the business judgment rule. So I think there's so many principles that go into drafting minutes. Many often we may not realize the importance of this minutes. We take it as one of the most routine documents, and at times the board also doesn't give the kind of importance that the minutes needs to be given, because most often it is just passed off as confirmed and we move on. So I think there is a lot of significance to minutes, and we as company secretaries can play a very vital role, and that actually will help enhancing the board effectiveness. So this is on the meetings. Of course, there are other areas where we can play a significant role so that the board effectiveness is either increased or at least sustained at the level that it's there. One is the board composition. The board composition is not always a number game. It's not that whether I have 50% of independent directors or 1/3 independent directors. No, it's not just the arithmetic. It's also the skill sets that's sitting across the table. That's what makes a board healthy. That's what makes a board robust. So we as corporate secretaries, because we have a seat on the table in the boardroom, we get to listen and observe. We are in a good position to analyze as to whether, given the industry that we are in, given the company that we are, do we have the right skills on the board? And I think if you really reflect for quite some time, you will be able to advise your chairman saying that, hey chairman, we seem to have 4 out of 10 directors who are from finance background. We have another 4 from engineering background, but we don't seem to have anybody from economics or public policy or humanities. So I think we can do a good job there. So the composition is one place where we can really play a good role, because meeting after meeting, and between meetings, we are always engaged with the board, and we do get a pulse of what skill sets do we have in the board and what skill sets we need at the board. Then director induction. I think we can play a significant role in director induction. We many times assume that a director who is inducted knows all about the company, but that's not the case. While the person who is inducted is a very, very eminent personality, but eminence per se may not translate into effectiveness because the person may be coming from a very different background. So to turn the eminence into effectiveness, there are certain things we can do. The first thing to do is to engage with the director and help the director understand the company from an inside source, request the director to know the company from an outside source, and then reflect and articulate as to what he or she understands of the company, having heard internal and external source, what is his own articulation or her own articulation or understanding of this company. To engage, avoid giving too much of information on the very first day so that he or she is not confused, agree on an induction schedule so that there is no confusion, consider pairing up the new inductee with an existing director so that the person coming in also gets a clear sense of how the board deliberations happen from a board member rather than from a company secretary, and keep going back to the inductee to double check if he or she needs something more. So I think induction, it's not a tick box exercise, it's a very strategic exercise, and I think we can do a phenomenal job on induction. And that will lead to enormous effectiveness within the boardroom. Another area where we can really play a significant role is on the director evaluation. Most often, we think director evaluation is done because SEBI has mandated it. No, that's where some of these governance mechanisms are best done voluntarily than being codified, because the moment it is codified, we take it as a regulatory compliance, and we think every year March we should have an evaluation exercise, and we just put a tick saying that yes, we've done an evaluation exercise. The evaluation exercise, friends, is not a pass-fail exercise. It's not about pass-fail. For example, somebody like Mr. Chitle on L&T board, we don't need to give him a certificate that he is passed. I mean, he's got 40 years of experience. It's not about pass-fail. All of us are individually eminent personalities on the board. If you take any stellar board, all individuals are eminent personalities. But the point is, while individually we are eminent, are we collectively effective? That's the question the board needs to collectively sit and ask. All of us may be statured individuals in our own right, but collectively, are we effective? Collectively, are we able to discharge our fiduciary duty? Collectively, are we able to oversee the performance of the management? And collectively, are we able to generate sustainable value to the stakeholders? That's a question. And the question is also not whether we need evaluation. The question is, how do we do the evaluation? That's the question. And there, we don't need to give a prescriptive kind of a answer to the board saying that SEBI wants us to do this. No. Like Mr. Amarjit Singh said, the substance is more important than the form. All of us can sit together, have an open discussion as to what is going well and what is not going well collectively. And then come to 3 action items and take care of those 3 action items in the coming year. That's fine. The company secretary can facilitate that. The company secretary also can do research and give chair or even the nominations committee chair or even the board the data on what happens in different industries, what happens in China, what happens in the US, what happens in Europe, what happens in oceanic countries. There is so much of research on these contemporary mechanisms on board effectiveness. We can certainly, instead of always looking at Companies Act and SEBI LODR, we certainly can look at strategic reports that are produced by some think tank organizations on board effectiveness, and then you don't need to simplicity or adopt. You can customize to the Indian conditions, customize to your industrial conditions, customize to your company's culture and processes, and then present to the board. What we as company secretaries need to do is not to provide information to the board. Now, today, information is freely available. But what is important to the board and what's our duty to make sure that the board effectiveness goes up is to provide insights. We need to draw insights from the information and place the insights to the board. And that is far more useful for a board than just giving information. We might read an article. We just pick up that article and send it to the board. That's of no consequence because the board members themselves can go to Google and download that article. That's information sharing. But what is far more important is, sirs, madam, I read this article. Having read this article, I think we can also do these things. These points really appeal to me. And I think this is insight. Why don't we just adopt this? That's where I think we as company secretaries should be giving insights rather than information. Of late, there are other kinds of governance mechanisms that are coming into play. For example, shareholder activism. Obviously, in India, it's not very rampant as it is in the US or in some of the European countries. We obviously can do a good job in educating and also facilitating how the board should be prepared should a shareholder activist knock at your door. I'm sure we can do a good job there. That increases board effectiveness. Crisis management. Crisis has become new normal today. Most often, many agendas don't have crisis management as one of the subjects that is discussed. There again, we can play an effective role to put that on the agenda, earmark some time, discuss with the chairman, discuss with the lead independent director, and make sure that the board discusses some of these topics like shareholder activists, cyber security, how to deal with proxy advisory firms, how do we engage with investors, how do we engage with stakeholders, how do we engage with civic society. I think there is a lot of these things that we as company secretaries can do rather than just limiting ourselves to the board meeting, the traditional board meeting, the traditional preparation of agenda, the traditional way of preparing minutes. I think our seat, friends, is like a rubber band. You can just keep stretching. Of course, don't stretch too much, it will break. You need to know where to stop, but certainly you can stretch. And one of the important thing is the seat doesn't give us power. We need to give power to the seat. That is far more important. You should not draw power from the seat, then it has no value. We should give power to the seat. We should enhance our competencies, our emotional intelligence, so that the board should be drawn by the company secretary. We should not be pushed to the board. The board should not think, oh, company secretaries, because the Companies Act wants me to have a company secretary, I'm having. No, the board, there should be a pull strategy, not a push strategy. The board should say, I cannot start this meeting without the company secretary. I cannot engage with this audience without the company secretary. I cannot take this initiative without the company secretary. And I think that's where our challenge lies. We have a great opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's a great opportunity. The regulators, like Mr. Amarjit Singh said, have given us enormous importance. The MCA has categorized us as KMP. The boards are looking up to us, and I think there's an enormous opportunity ahead of us, and I'm sure that we will capitalize on this opportunity, advise the board independently with enormous integrity so that the board effectiveness is enhanced. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think, dear participant, I think Mr. Parvatisam has given a 360-degree perspective of the role of secretarial department. Wonderful insights, whether it is corporate, whether it is being a corporate secretary, should be a conscience keeper, duty of care, duty of loyalty, what kind of care should be taken pre-meeting, post-meeting, and also know about individual efficiency versus collective efficiency. Very, very important point. And also the transformation from just sharing information to keeping on insights. Wonderful, sir. Very marvelous. Thank you so much. I really you brought out all the important perspectives of the role of secretarial department in a nutshell within the 20 minutes. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.